Hello again. Welcome to this video series, part of my Hospitality Intelligence and Analytics course. In this chapter, I want to explore the many types of data used in hospitality and tourism and their role in decision making. We'll cover different data types and how technologies like Internet of Things, big data, and AI are transforming data collection and usage. So I'm hoping that this chapter will give you some ideas to better understand and leverage data to make better decisions. Now, our industry is packed with data. It's one of the most data-rich sectors out there. Think about it. Every time a guest checks in, makes a booking, or interacts with the staff, there is a valuable data being created. But let me tell you, data isn't just a bunch of numbers on a spreadsheet, right? It's a tool that we can use to make things run smoother, make guests happier, and stay ahead of the competition. So what is our game plan for today? We are going to break down the different types of data we use in this industry and talk about how to handle it. Everything from collecting it to managing and even governing it. By the end of this chapter, you'll have a solid grasp on the kind of data we work with and some practical tips to good use in your own work. So, all right, let's look at the types of data we deal with it and why each one matters so much in hospitality and tourism. First thing is, of course, in our industry or any kind of industry, data isn't one size fits all. It comes in a different forms, each serving a specific purpose. Understanding these forms is the first step to using data effectively. Before we dive into data variety, some of the terms might overlap with each other. I want to make sure that when you encounter different terms, you have a clear understanding of them. We can broadly classify data into two main categories, primary and secondary sources. We will talk about all these topics in a minute anyway. Data also falls into qualitative and quantitative categories, offering different perspective on the same issue. Internal and external data. Internal data generated within an organization from its operation, and external collected from sources outside from the organization. Then there is a structured data, like reservation logs, and unstructured data like social media posts or customer reviews. And of course, let's not forget the big data. So understanding these types of data is critical. Each type plays a role, and combining them leads to better, more complete strategies. Now, let's now look at each of these in a little bit more detail. Let's start with primary and secondary data, two foundational types of data in hospitality and tourism industry. Primary data is what you collect directly from your own sources. Think customers, employees, or operation. Like some common examples include like guest satisfaction surveys, interviews, focus groups, even the Internet of Things sensors, data from smart devices. The biggest strength of primary data is specificity. Basically, it is tailored exactly to your organization goals. You are the one collecting that. You are the one designing it the way you want. So this is exactly a target, whatever you want to do. But of course, there is a trade-off. Collecting and analyzing this type of data takes time, resources, and careful planning. Plus, there is a privacy concerns you need to address to ensure compliance and trust. The secondary data is a little bit different, right? It is pre-existing data gathered by usually external sources, not necessarily always external sources. It could be internal too. We're going to talk about that, but this could be industry reports, government statistics, or online reviews. For example, if you're in hotel industry, you might be using the STR reports to benchmark its performance your performance against competitors, or you can use tourism statistics from your DMO to spot trends in demand. You are essentially leveraging data that's already out there. The main advantage of secondary data is how accessible and cost effective it is. It saves you the effort of collecting it yourself, but it is not always a perfect fit for your organization's specific needs. So you'll often need to validate and adapt it to make it work for your goals. Also, of course, you need to be sure data comes from reliable sources. We talk about this many times, since garbage in, garbage out, right? So you have to be sure that the data is the way you want, and also it's coming from reliable sources. Now, let's talk a little bit about the qualitative and quantitative data. The two types that offer complementary insights into your business operations. Qualitative data is descriptive and non-numerical. It dives into the why behind guests' behaviors and preferences in more detail. Examples could be like focus groups, in-depth interviews, text analysis of customer reviews. Like, for example, you can analyze TripAdvisor's reviews to uncover what guests truly value about their experiences. Quantitative data, on the other hand, is all about numbers. It answers questions like what's happening and how much. Common examples include metrics like occupancy rates, customer satisfaction scores, and revenue figures. It is the data you can analyze statistically to track trends and measure performance. The real power comes from combining the two. Like for example, quantitative data tells you what's happening, while qualitative data explains why it's happening, right? So if you notice a drop in customer satisfaction score, which is a quantitative data, digging into qualitative feedback like reviews or comments, which are qualitative data, right, can reveal the underlying issues driving that decline. Now, business analytics relies two main sources of data, what we call the internal and external. Both are essential, but they serve a little bit different purposes and complement each other. Let's start with the internal data. This data is generated within the organization, like guest booking histories, point of sale transactions, staff performance metrics. It is the kind of data that gives you the insights into your operations. For example, you could use it to optimize processes like scheduling staff based on peak occupancy trends. Now, on the other hand, external data comes from outside sources. Think market trends, competitive pricing, or social media reviews. This type of data helps businesses benchmark their performance and stay aligned with customer expectations. The real value comes from integrating the two, similar to other topics we talked. For example, let's say your internal data shows drop in bookings. By looking at the external data, you might discover that competitors are running special promotions, right? So with that combined insights, you can make strategic decisions like launching a targeted marketing campaigns or adjusting your price to stay competitive. I want to be now. There is two things, right? First, we need to look at the primary versus secondary and internal versus external, because sometimes we've been confused. So key differences are primary versus secondary focuses on how and by whom the data was collected. Primary data is directly collected by the organization. Secondary data is pre-existing data collected by external sources, usually external sources. Internal versus external, if you look at that, internal data is sourced within the organization. External data comes from outside sources. Let me give you examples that combining both concepts. Data could be primary and internal, right? So hotel conducting its own guest satisfaction survey. However, data could be also primary and external. You can hire a research firm to conduct customer interviews. Similarly, internal data could be secondary, Like if you look at using historical bookings data for trend analysis in your PMS system is automatically generated there. And also secondary could be external data, like referring to market trends in published industry reports. We need to also understand the structured and unstructured data. This is also two critical categories. First up is the structured data. This type of data is highly organized. Think rows, columns on a spreadsheet. It's easy to search, process, and analyze. Examples could include like reservation system, financial records, and customer demographics stored in the CRM systems. Now, if you look at unstructured data, it is a little bit more complex because it doesn't follow a predefined format. It could include customer reviews, social media posts, images, and even videos. While it is harder to analyze, this type of data provides richer, more detailed insights. Both types of data have their strengths. Structured data is perfect for quick operational decisions like determining inventory levels or calculating revenue. On the other hand, unstructured data offers deeper context, helping businesses to refine their services like based on for example, guest sentiment or market feedback. Once again, they might sound similar or familiar to like qualitative and quantitative data, but they are not. Here's the distinction. Qualitative and quantitative data differ in what they capture, description versus number. Structured and unstructured data differ in how they are organized, predefined format versus free-flowing content. Both are essentials, but they serve very different purposes. I just want you to understand overall these types, because sometimes you'll see in your reports, in the news, and etc. So at least you have some idea what we are talking about when we say different kind of data types. Now, next thing is, of course, we always hear about the big data, right? So what's the big data? Simplest definition is refers to large, complex data sets beyond traditional processing capabilities. It is a massive amount of structured and unstructured information generated from all kinds of sources, like Internet of Things devices, social media, operational systems, and more. So to understand it better, we can break it down into 6 key characteristics. First, it's called 6 V's. First, there is a volume. The sheer amount of data being generated every day. Think of all bookings, online reviews, and interactions happening across a hotel or tourism operation. It's massive. But think about how much information generated on the internet every day for many reasons, right? Next is the velocity. That's the speed at which data is created and needs to be processed. For example, real-time updates on room availability are crucial for both guests and staff. However, once again, I'm going to go to internet, but when I first time I used the internet, it was very easy to access using the old modems with like 128 kilobit per second modems. Right now is 1 gigabyte. 1 gigabyte is like 1 billion. 128 kilobytes is like 128,000, right? So almost like more than 10,000 times faster. But even with that speed is sometimes not enough, right? Because we are generating data is unbelievable, especially video data is holding a lot of space. Then we have a variety. The wide range of the data types out there. It could be structured, like we talk about the different data types. It could be structured data like sales number, or unstructured data like guests, photos, and social media posts, videos, etc. There's all kind of variety. Now, originally, we used these 3 V's, 3 volume, velocity, and variety. But later, we added 3 more to describe big data, a little bit more, expanding the definition, basically. The veracity is all about accuracy and reliability. If your data isn't clean and trustworthy, your insights won't be actionable, and that's a big risk. So when we say accuracy and reliability, you have to be sure it doesn't matter whatever you call it, big data, regular data, structured, unstructured, internal, external, it has to be reliable and accurate. At the end of the day, it's all about value. Taking all this data and turning it into meaningful actions. Does it really worth to spending the time, money, and energy on insight from big data? And finally, vulnerability. Big data comes big responsibility. Handling sensitive information like gas details requires strong security measures to protect against risks. Big data is transforming all industries, but it is not just about collecting more data, right? Yes, I mean, there is all kind of data everywhere, but if you don't do anything about it, it's about the understanding and leveraging these 6 V's to create real value while managing risk effectively. Given the time, we are not going to dive into every single type of data we collect in the hospitality and tourism industry. There is just too much to cover. Instead, I encourage you to check out the chapter where you will find deeper discussion about the diversity of data types we work with. And let's remember, the examples we are covering in here and in chapter are not exhaustive lists, right? They are just a few highlights to give you an idea of the kinds of data we deal with and how they can be used effectively. Okay, but how do we collect the data? Where do we get the data? Data collection is the foundation of any successful analytics strategy. In the hospitality and tourism industry, businesses use mix of traditional and modern methods to gather insights. Each approach has its strengths and best works when combined. Let's start with the traditional methods, which have been to go to for decades, right? Think like surveys, interviews, and direct observations. I'm sure still you are using in your hotels or properties with in the front desk. There is checkout surveys and things like that. These methods are fantastic for capturing deep qualitative feedback, especially in the interviews and written responses. For example, like I just said, the hotel might use checkout survey to ask guests about their satisfaction with cleanliness, staff behavior, or technology or overall experience. So these are the traditional methods. Now, when we talk about the modern methods which leverage technology to gather data on a much larger scale and often in real time, tools like IoT sensors, the Internet of Things sensors, CRM systems, web analytics, these are allow businesses to collect data that wasn't even possible before. For instance, IoT sensors can monitor room occupancy or energy usage, right? Helping optimize to hotels optimize their resources. CRM systems, on the other hand, store and analyze guest preferences, enabling businesses to deliver like personalized marketing and tailored services. Of course, the idea is like similar to what we talked before. When you combine traditional and modern methods, by the way, the line between them sometimes blur. I mean, everything start to mix up. But if you have a traditional, but if you add the modern methods, that could be much better. For instance, like the hotel might pair guest surveys with the web analytics data from their website, right? So you are getting some kind of guest surveys, but does it really? Are you really capturing what the people say about you? Because in the web, different environments, maybe there is a pressure in the filling in the hotel, etc. It could be different experience. So you have to able to combine them. Surveys provide subjective insights, like whether guests found their stay relaxing, while analytics reveal objective data, like how guests navigated the booking process or which packages caught their attention. So good idea is to, like everything else, is to use some kind of combination. These are some of the pictures. Now, collecting data is just the first step. The real value comes from managing that data effectively. Poor data management can lead to incorrect conclusions, inefficiencies, and even compliance risks. That's why businesses in hospitality and tourism needs to focus on few key principles to get it right. How you're gonna manage the data. The first important thing is the accuracy, like we already mentioned a little bit, but data needs to be reliable and error-free. In a basic approach, wrong data creates bad results, like garbage in, garbage out we are talking about. Or it could be some not very obvious issues. Think about a hotel that doesn't update guest profiles accurately, and imagine offering a welcome back gift to a first-time visitor, or overlooking a regular guest preferred room type. You're gonna have dissatisfied customers. They're gonna say, they don't know what they are doing. Basically, they're gonna tell you. Small inaccuracies like this can lead to poor customer experiences and flawed business decisions. So what's the solution? You need to do regular audits and validation checks to keep data clean and correct. Next thing is the privacy and security. These are the things that you have to be always constant, right? So privacy and security is non-negotiable. Our industry deals with sensitive information like payment details and personal data. A breach can destroy trust and lead to legal penalties under regulations like GDPR in Europe. For example, a resort using biometric check-in must ensure that this data is encrypted and accessible only to authorized staff. It's about protecting your guest and your reputation. And there is a things called integration or silo types in our industry. Disconnected systems create inefficiencies and missed opportunities. Imagine having one system for booking, another for payments, yet another for loyalty programs. Without interaction, you are stuck with fragmented data all over. When systems are connected, or you find some way to unify those systems, you have a better view of your operation. Unfortunately, there is a major problem in our industry with many legacy systems which they cannot speak to each other. And last thing is the accessibility. Of course, accessibility matters, right? Data needs to be easy to access for the people who need it. Whether it's a front desk employee checking guest preferences or manager reviewing occupancy trends, quick access makes a big difference. I mean, you can have the all data out there, but if you cannot access one time at least, it's not going to help. We are going to talk about some of the data storage things actually to give you some ideas next. Like I said, following the data management, how or where are you going to save your data? Data storage is a cornerstone of effective data management. Choosing the right storage solution ensures that your data is secure, accessible, and scalable to meet your business needs. Not only now, but also in the future as well. You should always think about the future. Now, let's break down to three main options for data storage I come up with. First one is called cloud-based. Cloud-based storage is incredibly popular for its flexibility, scalability, and cost effectiveness. Take a small boutique hotel, for example. They might use a cloud-based system to avoid the high upfront cost of setting up like on-site servers. Plus, they benefit from real-time access to their data from any location. On the other hand, on-premises storage involves housing servers right at the property. And of course, it depends on your size. And when I say servers, it could be just simple computer as well. It depends on your data, but still. This kind of setup offers more control and security, making it ideal for businesses handling highly sensitive data. Let's say you're a luxury resort hosting a high-profile guests. Right? They might choose this option to ensure their data stays fully protected. But it's worth noting this approach requires significant investment and ongoing maintenance. My approach is the best approach in my opinion is the hybrid storage. And that blends the best of both worlds. It uses cloud system for scalability while keeping critical or sensitive data stored on site. For example, large hotel chain might store guest payment data locally for added security, but use the cloud for broader tasks like marketing analytics or trend forecasting. There are a few things I want you to think about considering about the storage. First one is scalability is the critical for handling business growth or more data need. Yes, there are a bunch of hard drives right now. You can put in your computer, store a lot of data, but still you have to be think about also speed, access speed, and everything. So scalability covers all those. Security is non-negotiable, especially in hospitality and tourism, where sensitive customer data is at stake, which we're going to talk about in a minute in data governance. Accessibility ensures that your team can access the data they need in real time. It doesn't matter if they are in the front desk, managing a remote property, or working from a central office, right? So accessibility is also important. So the right data storage solution is more than just a technical decision. It's a strategic one. So for your future. Now, good data management isn't just about tools and processes. It is supported by strong governance frameworks. These frameworks ensure that data is handled responsibly and ethically. Not only do they protect business from risks, but they also build and strengthen customer trust. Data governance is like a rule book for handling data across an organization. It provides clear policies and processes, ensuring consistency and accountability at every step, from collection of the data to storage and sharing, who's going to access and etc. So this kind of data governance reduces risk related to inaccuracies, data breaches, or legal non-compliance. Just to give you an example from myself, lately, every few months I'm receiving a letter saying someone accessed the data in a firm I had a business in the past. These are becoming bigger and bigger issue with the hackers and everything. So if you create a good governance, at least you protect yourself and your data in a best legal and cost-effective way. Next thing is the compliance. Compliance is a major piece of the governance puzzle, right? Like laws, like in GDPR in Europe and like CCPA in the California. Sometimes Federal Trade Commission also in federal level involves, sets strict standards for how data should be protected. Ignoring these rules can lead to hefty fines and serious reputational damage. And most important than hefty fines is the reputation issue. For example, in Europe, if you try to access Europe websites, I'm sure you come up with this, but similarly, like GDPR requires businesses to get explicit consent before collecting personal data and delete it upon request. Basically, if I went to Europe and they collect my data, they have to ask me, and if after that I say, I don't want this data be saved by you, they have to delete it. So you have to comply with whatever the state or country you are living in. To make sure these rules are followed, many organizations rely on the data stewards. These individuals are responsible for overseeing data accuracy, privacy, and compliance, the rules we talked about. So their job is to ensure that all data practices align with operational needs and regulatory requirements. Right, so data stewards usually conduct regular audits to confirm that everything is accurate, up to date, compliant with privacy laws. So they are essentially the guardians of responsible data use. So let's not forget that data governance is essential for any organization working with sensitive information. So if you have a clear policies, if you ensure compliance, And if you assign stewards doesn't necessarily mean separate person, but maybe one of the manager or general manager with more background in analytics and data, and they know technology, etc. So if they oversee this kind of practices, business can manage their data responsibly while building trust and staying competitive. While data management offers incredible potential, it's not without its challenges, like especially in an industry as complex as hospitality and tourism. Recognizing and addressing these barriers is essential. At least you have to understand to unlock the full value of your data. Let's start with some of the biggest challenges. We talked about a minute ago is that data integration is a major hurdle. Many businesses use separate systems for reservation, payments, marketing, which leads to a slowed information and missed opportunities. Second, in my opinion, is the most important. In the corporate level, it could be some issues, but as I'm talking especially in the small to medium enterprises. I mean, let's not forget in our industry, even when we talk about the Marriott, but the Marriott hotels you went to owned by individual owners, and they may have different kind of analytical needs, so they might be doing their own things in analytics or marketing or scheduling or all kind of different things. So what is the issue we have in the small, medium businesses? The skill gap. Our staff might not have the training needed to analyze data effectively or use any kind of tools. So hopefully this course is going to be help a little bit in that regard. And finally, evolving regulations like GDPR and other privacy laws adds a layer of complexity. You have to basically constantly update data practices and systems to stay compliant, or otherwise you can get into problem. Now, good news is there is a solution to these challenges. Right now, once again, we are talking about non-stop with the AI-powered tools, right? So this kind of tools can simplify the data integration, that connecting fragmented systems into cohesive platform. So basically, the person with the good knowledge can pull up all this data from different systems and combine automatically by the AI-powered tools. There is a more issues might come up with those, but still, at least for what we have, is a good solution. Now, training programs like this class can hopefully we can offer maybe similar things in the future to industry, can bridge the skill gaps, giving your team to confidence to work with data and some of the tools. Also, if you have properties big enough, they might partner with analytical consultant to train their marketing team and also get some analytical help from those firms. And when it comes to regulatory compliances, many businesses turn to external experts or use automated tools to ensure stay ahead of changes. So thank you for listening and everything about the data landscape in hospitality and tourism.